Welcome to Running Shoe and Training Talk for March of 2024. Now, for all of the new subscribers to this channel, and there has been a bunch, this is a off-the-cuff format video that I do every month where I can talk about channel updates, how my running's been going, and really just nerd out about shoes in a way that I can't in my more scripted or formatted videos. I just have shoes in front of me, there's no screen, there's no notes, there's no nothing. We're just going to talk about shoes and training and everything else that's on my mind related to the channel, and there's a lot to get into this month. Starting with a couple channel updates, the first one is, as I mentioned in the intro, there have been a lot of new subscribers on this channel since last month. Over 1,000 in fact. So I appreciate every one of you, as well as all the people who have been with me for a while. Some of you have been here since the early days last year. I appreciate all of you. Hopefully my content still keeps hitting the mark, keeps you coming back, keeps you engaged, and I love the community that's building on this channel. I'm very thankful for that. So I have a ton planned for this year. It's kind of getting more and more as we get further into the year, so tons ahead. Stay tuned. Thank you, everyone. The second update is around comments on this channel. Now, this is a good problem to have. I pride myself on responding to all comments on the videos for this channel, though now that's beginning to get a little challenging, mostly because YouTube does not have a good comment system. It's hard for me to track comments, especially when they're ats in a reply to a reply. So if your comment is getting missed, I'm not ignoring you. I am trying to get to it. I just don't see it. It's a problem. Again, like I said, YouTube just doesn't have a good way for me to stay on top of all that. So if you don't see me reply to your comment and you did have a question, go follow me on Instagram. There'll be a link on the screen and you can DM me and ask me whatever the question is. I'm finding that's a good mechanism for those sort of one-on-one interactions. But otherwise, I'm going to continue responding to comments, every comment on the video, as much as I can for as long as I can, and hopefully that will go on for some time. And lastly, the podcast is coming back. Now, it's been a bit of an unplanned pause to the podcast, mostly because things got really busy here on the channel, but they also got really busy for me in life in general. So the sort of 4 to 5 month pause we've had on podcast episodes was not planned, but as of the first week of April, the podcast publishing will come back, and we're going to pivot a little bit on the show. It's not just going to be me monologuing into the camera. I'm going to open it up to interviews and conversations, which was always my plan for the podcast, but that will be coming in April, and stuff will be rolling out probably monthly, maybe 2 episodes a month. We'll see. Don't hold me to that, but definitely at least a monthly episode on that, and hopefully things will continue to grow over there as well. All of you asking about the podcast, thank you. Thank you for those who still listen and watch it here on YouTube. I'm amazed there's still people watching it and listening to it. So thank you, everyone. The podcast is coming back. Now, moving on to training or just running, since I'm not really training for anything, I have no races scheduled yet this year because of things I mentioned in previous episodes of this series. There'll be a link to the playlist so you can go back and watch that stuff. But my running has been fairly consistent all year. I've been doing about 50-mile or 80K weeks, and I've been pretty consistent with that really since mid-January. This past week, I did 100K or about 60 miles. And given that I'm not training for anything specifically, this is comfortable volume. This is volume where I feel energized. I'm energetic to go out and run. Most of this is easy running, though I'm doing more steady running, which is about 30 seconds per kilometer off my marathon pace. It's sort of a moderate effort type of running. Maybe some people will call it tempo running. It's a little bit slower than that, but I've been doing a lot of that. I've also been doing a lot of workouts, specifically testing all the shoes that I've been testing. There has been a lot, but overall running is going really well. Now, the weather has been up and down. I think last month's episode, I talked about how it was starting to get warm. It was getting warm, and then it got really cold again, and then it got warm again. And today's run, for example, it was 31 degrees Celsius or about 88 degrees Fahrenheit when I ran around 9:30 a.m. That's kind of going to become the norm over the next few months here. And that summer sort of running is quickly coming. I think I probably have about another month of just this sort of middle ground weather where it is going to start to get a little bit warmer, but I can still do volume. But probably once early May generally hits, it's going to be a little bit tougher. And that's where I'm going to switch to doing shorter, harder, faster stuff and less focused on volume. Though I am going to try to maintain more volume this summer. That's going to mean me running much earlier, probably like 6 a.m. We'll see how that one goes. But generally, summer temperatures are approaching, and that's going to shift my running a little bit. Now let's move to shoes. Nerd out about shoes because that's why we're here. That's what we love to do. First thing I'm going to say, if you're interested in what I'm running in on a daily basis, follow me on Instagram. And in fact, there's a post over there right now talking about kind of giving a preview of what's going to be coming up on this channel in April. And I think it might surprise a lot of people on this channel. So go to Instagram, follow me there. I will be posting more regular updates about things I'm thinking of, what I'm working on for the channel specifically. As well as if you want to see what I'm running every day, follow me on Strava. Now there'll be a link in the description to my Strava. Follow me there. You can see what I'm working on the channel, what I'm running in, the kind of workouts, kind of runs that I'm doing, and all of that other stuff. It's been really interesting to have more people following me over there, commenting on some of my runs. So again, I really appreciate all the support on both those channels. In last month's update, I talked a lot about how there was a shoe drought for me. I just wasn't getting 2024 models releasing here in Taiwan. Well, literally the day after I published last month's running shoe and training talk video, the floodgates opened. And the first one that came out was this, the Puma Velocity Nitro 3. I literally got this the next day after I published that video. And this shoe has been something I've been spending a lot of time in this month. This was my first Puma. There'll be a link in the description to my initial impressions review of this shoe. But I've been really enjoying this shoe as sort of a do-it-all basic daily trainer. I'm really enjoying the Nitro foam. I'm really enjoying the construction of the shoe. And I'm really just enjoying this shoe in general. It's been great. It's been a great basic daily trainer. I think we need more of that. Now, it was my first Puma. This is the first Puma I've ever bought. And I'm enjoying the quality of the shoe as well. I will say the last run I went out in this earlier this week was probably the first run where I felt a little of the comments I've heard about this shoe, where the Nitro foam starts to go a little flat after about 60 miles, which is where I am in this shoe right now. The last run I did in this shoe, it felt a little flat. I'm not going to say it was a problem. We definitely weren't pancaking out. It just felt a little flat. Some of that could have been me. I was tired going into that run, but it put the little idea in my head about just keeping an eye on this foam. But other than that one run, every other run I've done in this shoe, and I've done a lot, mostly easy running, but I've done a couple workouts. I've been using this shoe as sort of a baseline to gauge effort for other workouts in plated shoes. We'll get to that. They've just been great. This has been a great performer, and it's one I'm going to be spending a lot more time in this year. And to be honest, as of right now, this is one of those daily trainers that I'm probably most excited about. About a week or 10 days after the Puma came out, this shoe finally came out. And this is a shoe I've been waiting for since December of last year. The Adidas Supernova Rise. A Puma-based, lower stack, very flexible trainer for easy running. It's not a max stack heavily rockered shoe, which is generally what we see for that type of easy running or volume training, that 80% of your running and what it should be on a weekly basis. This is a low stack traditional geometry shoe in a Puma foam. In a Puma foam that's developed specifically for training. So it's a little bit more stable, it's a little bit more dense, but you're still getting all the leg savingsness of a Puma foam for recovery, which is important for that 80% of running volume that you should be doing per week, which is easy running. Now, I'm in love with this shoe. Currently, this is the shoe that's probably in the lead for the best daily trainer of 2024. It's early. We still have some heavy hitters that are going to come out in the next couple months, but this shoe has just been great. This is the shoe I look forward to running on. This is a shoe that if I don't have something specifically to work on for the channel or test or anything like that, this is a shoe I take out, and I've enjoyed every single mile or kilometer in this shoe. It's comfortable, it's enjoyable, it's flexible, it's soft, it's extremely enjoyable to run in. It's everything in this shoe. And I'm really surprised that it's from Adidas because I just don't think of this soft, flexible shoe as something from Adidas. But they've gone a totally new direction with the Supernova line. Again, this is not an Adizero shoe. This is outside of the Adizero range, which is their performance range. But for a trainer, for easy running, this shoe is absolutely exceptional. And I will be spending a lot more time in this shoe and comparing it to some of the big hitters coming out over the next couple months. Another shoe that I actually picked up the same day that I got the Supernova Rise is this, the Hoka Mach 6. Now, as I said, my initial impressions video for this shoe, link in the description. I'm not new to Hoka. It's just been about 4 years since I've run in Hoka, and this is still very much a Hoka. If you are a Hoka fan, you're Hoka faithful, you love Hoka, you're probably going to really love this shoe. If you're not a Hoka fan, this is probably not going to convince you to try Hoka. I feel like this shoe is very much for those people who really love Hoka-ness in shoes, meaning the fit, the last, how the shoes are actually built, constructed, the EVA foams they still use. This is a supercritical EVA foam. I just think it's hitting all the marks for people who love Hoka, but for people who don't love Hoka, maybe not so much. I've enjoyed this shoe, though I do have some issues with it. I have issues with the fit. The upper is just too low volume. Again, I don't think it's too narrow. I just think there's not enough volume in it. And as much as I love a good EVA foam, and I still think there is a place for EVA foams, even with all the super foams that we have in 2024, this foam is fun to run in. And again, it's a supercritical EVA foam, but it's a Hoka foam. So what does that mean? That means I don't know how durable this is going to be. As I said, my initial impressions, it's already starting to feel a little bit more flat after about 40 kilometers, which is not a lot of volume in the shoe. And I don't know, another 40, another 80 kilometers from now, we'll see. I'm going to keep running in this shoe because I do enjoy running in it, but I'm more curious to see how long this foam lasts. So expect some more occasional updates on this shoe. I will try to come back with a durability update on this shoe. Like I said, I don't know if that'll be a 50 mile or 100 mile because I just don't know how much I'll actually be running in this shoe. But I am going to see how far I can push this foam and really understand how durable this shoe actually is. Now moving to the heavy hitter of this month, the Metaspeed Paris series. This is the Metaspeed Edge Paris. It has been exceptional. And I think this was a shoe that a lot of people were excited about this month. The content I put out about this shoe all did extremely well, and I really enjoyed running in this shoe. And currently for 2024, this is probably the best super shoe that's come out in my mind. And there are still a couple heavy hitters that will come out this fall, mainly from Adidas, but Asics really nailed this update. And the real magic of this update is this foam. FF Turbo Plus foam is wonderful. It's somewhere between Nike Zoom X and Adidas Lightstrike Pro. It's closer to Zoom X as far as softness and resiliency, but you don't sink into this foam. And it's just a joy to run in. This is a very, very capable super shoe for really any road racing distance from 5K on up to the marathon. Now, the biggest question I have about this shoe is just how durable FF Turbo Plus is. Given that FF Turbo was very durable, I expect this to be fairly durable as well. And usually with Asics foams, that is the case. But to me, that's the biggest unanswered question about this shoe. And no one has really spent enough time in the shoe to really push the foam really far to see how durable it is. But again, exceptional update. And what's also really curious about this shoe is that I don't think I've seen a negative review of the Paris series. Whether the reviewer likes the Sky or the Edge model, everyone's been very positive about this shoe. And I cannot remember the last super shoe, let alone running shoe, where kind of universally everyone has something good to say and everyone's been enjoying it. Asics really has something here, and this update, the Paris series, has really elevated them into the top tier of super shoes for 2024, unquestionably. And then the last shoe that I've reviewed on this channel this month and what I've been running in a lot lately is this, the Adidas Takumi Sen 10. Now, this shoe has been a huge surprise for me, not only from how it fits, and again, link in the description to my initial impressions video of this shoe where I get into the fit of the shoe compared to the Takumi Sen 9, but this shoe fits better. And a lot of that has to do with this upper material, which is wonderful, and just how much more accommodating this shoe is. It makes this shoe much more usable for me. And I'm glad I gave this shoe a chance because I almost wasn't going to pick this one up because as much as I liked the Takumi Sen 9, it just did not fit my foot and I just could not get a lot of use out of it. This shoe is a total different story. There's no massive major change in this shoe. It's just a lot of iterative changes that have made this shoe that much better. And it's a shoe I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time in this year as a trainer, but possibly a racer, especially for 5, 10K, maybe even a half marathon. I'm going to do some videos in April where I'm going to talk about some of the data around this shoe compared to some other super shoes. So stay tuned for that if you're interested. But this shoe has really been a big surprise to me. Not only how good this update is with all the minor tweaks and changes to this, but how much I'm enjoying running this shoe. All of this stuff that people were saying about how much they loved the Takumi Sen prior, I get it. I finally get it. This shoe I really enjoy, and I'm going to keep using it for the foreseeable future. And especially as I transition into doing shorter, faster, harder running in the summer, I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time in this shoe. And I will be doing a lot of comparisons to this shoe with some other models coming out. And I will be doing a comparison again to this shoe in the Adios 9 when eventually that releases. So stay tuned for that. Now, there are 2 other models that I plan to get to in March, but one of them, the Alphafly 3, again, I failed every lottery that I saw for that shoe. The release schedule and the way Nike's releasing the Alphafly has been so frustrating. I continue to get frustrated about it to the point where I'm almost like, I'm going to pass. Because I know I'm not an Alphafly runner. I've run enough in both Alphaflys to know I prefer the Vaporfly and I prefer that lower plate configuration. But for the channel, I do want to run in the Alphafly 3 and I want to test it and I want to compare it to other super shoes that I know that I do like and that I will be successful in. So I am going to keep trying to get an Alphafly 3. Maybe I'll get lucky with one of the lotteries. According to Nike, as of April 1st, that is supposedly the wide release of the Alphafly in the Volt colorway. We'll see. I don't really believe them. I don't know why Nike still does this insane lottery-based gated release system for these shoes. They don't need to build the hype. They don't need to be doing this. And from a tech and manufacturing standpoint, there's nothing really new in the Alphafly 3 that wasn't in the Alphafly 2, the Alphafly 1, or in the Vaporfly. Same material, same foam, same AirPods even. So from a manufacturing standpoint, they should be able to produce them in the same volume that they did in the older models. They're just gating it to build hype. This is a shoe that doesn't need the hype. So I will keep trying to get one. Hopefully I get one in April. We'll see. Fingers crossed on the Alphafly. And lastly, a bit of a gap right now in coverage on the channel, but the New Balance Rebel V4. I am going to get to it, but so that shoe actually released a few weeks ago here in Taiwan. I went to the New Balance store the day that it released. I tried it on and immediately I had a very horrible reaction to the shoe. The fit, the geometry, the foam, everything about it was like, no, this is not a good shoe. I actually tried the SC Elite V4 on the same day, right next to the Rebel V4, and I had an even worse reaction to that shoe. The fit, the geometry, the foam, that upper, the width of the thing, everything about what those 2 shoes are is just a hard pass for me. So I left the store. I didn't pick them up. I actually went and got the Supernova Rise and the Mach 6 the same day. And I figured I'll come back and I'll get the Rebel V4 because I do want to talk about it because I do have a history with the Rebel series. So I went back to the store about 10 days later, and now it turns out that Taiwan, mostly 90% of the shoes that we got here in Taiwan were the wide versions. Now the Rebel V4 is already insanely wide. You don't need a wide version. At least most people won't need a wide version. So if you are a runner who wants a wide Rebel V4, seems like they're all here in Taiwan. The UK seem to have got all the standard or normal width. Here in Taiwan, we got all the wide ones. So as soon as I can get a non-wide version of the Rebel V4, I will pick it up, and I am going to get into it because there is a bunch I have to say about that shoe. And spoiler alert, it's actually kind of turned me off from covering New Balance at all in 2024 because their design direction, their engineering, and where they're going with those shoes is not good. So hopefully I will get a pair in April, and I'll be able to slot it in somewhere because April's publishing schedule looks really busy, really full. But there is a lot I want to talk about there. I'll get to it. It's coming. Just be patient. I just got to get a pair that will actually fit my feet the way they should, or at least the standard width that will be on my foot, but still not fit the way a Rebel should. Looking ahead to April, there is a lot of content coming to this channel in April. March was a huge month for this channel. A lot of views, a lot of videos were published. April looks like it's going to be larger. Now, I'm going to be covering a brand and a specific series that has been a noticeable gap on this channel for me. I'm going into it with an open mind, and I'm trying to be as objective as possible, but it's a little confrontational too. If you wonder what I'm talking about, follow me on Instagram, check the post that I put up today. You can get the story about what's coming on this channel in early April. Beyond that, I am going to get back into some trail stuff. I talked about this in last month's update. I've got some exciting trail things to talk about. It's just taking a little bit longer to get there, but it should finally start to appear here in April. And again, hopefully we'll get to the Alphafly. We'll cover the Rebel V4, possibly. And I've got some longer term shoe-off type data videos that I'm working on that I will try to slot in towards the end of April, talking about super shoe efficiency and you know, a bunch of stuff around data and all of that sort of stuff. So stay tuned for that if you're interested as well. And there'll be some surprises. I think, again, we're getting into the season where there are a lot of new shoes coming out, and who knows what will show up here in Taiwan, because it seems like things randomly just appear in stores here right now, and there's a couple of things that I'm waiting for. I have a feeling they'll pop up randomly in April because that's just how things sort of seem to be going here. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you find this content useful, consider subscribing. You'll see more content from me pop up in your feed. If not, drop a like on this video because it helps this channel continue to grow, which I always appreciate. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one.